gave you a lesson, like a brief lecture on the Berlin Conference, which is when basically a bunch of Europeans got together and just drew a bunch of boundaries in Africa, in a nutshell, kind of. So just, okay. So now here comes the literacy part. So in front of you is the poem White Man's Bird by Rudyard Kipling, which was written in the late 1800s. And so what we're going to learn about today is how words in a text, or how do I word it? We're going to learn about the meaning of words in a text and how they contribute to a historical text. And so we're going to understand the meaning of specific words and phrases and how they contribute to an overall theme of a text. So what I want you to do is I want you to read that closely, and then go ahead and circle or underline words that you feel are really important or critical to the theme of the text. I'm going to kind of give you guys a little giveaway. The theme of the text is a manifesto that justifies European expansionism. Basically, that's the theme. So what he's doing is he's justifying this is why we're going to go colonize Africa and Asia and various unreached parts of the globe. So go ahead and read that. If you don't know what a word means, that's okay. I provided dictionaries. Look up and you guys are done. All right, we don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to go ahead and just dive in and hopefully you finish off the last stanza at least. So basically what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you divide into groups of 5. I'm going to number you off. And so there's numbers, I've numbered all the stanzas, and so each group is going to have that stanza. So one's going to have the first stanza, and group 2 is going to have the second stanza. You're going to do a little key chart. So here's my example. So what I want you to do is I want you to highlight or pick a phrase from that stanza, and then I want you to write just a little sentence into what maybe that means in the text as far as how is this contributing to the theme of European expansionism. Obviously, there's an interpretation, but I want to know how that interpretation reinforces the theme of European expansionism, if that makes sense. So I want you to determine how that phrase or line in the text contributes to the main theme of the text, which we've already talked about. So here's my example. So the phrase, "to weight and heavy harness." So I wrote, that suggests that natives are enslaved, perhaps, to some sort of lesser society, because a harness usually means that they're captive by something. So go ahead and get into groups, and I'm going to be locked. So 1. Okay, sweet. So one's over here, and just kind of go around. And then I'm going to visit you, and then we're going to kind of talk on an individual group level.
Whatever.
What stanza are you?
3.
Okay.
What did you circle?
Oh, actually, the only thing I circled was in 3. So that's good. The savage words of peace and fill full the mouth of
Feel
famine.
free to still be the teacher on
Yeah, are you 3?
You want to leave it up to the top.
Okay, that's
Did you underline anything?
make a tree chart on here. Is that okay?
That's a great idea.
Because I don't want to play with chart. So number 3, I circled savage, wars, sloth, and heathen. Those words seemed a little bit heavier than the rest. And I would have liked to circle the entire line, savage wars of peace.
I did that. Yeah, I did that too. Maybe we should start with that one.
Okay, that sounds good.
So what's the line?
The savage wars of peace.
Savage Wars of Peace.
Okay, so savage words of peace. In the text, in the context
Justifying and justifying the European experience. I was
So
kind
saying-
of. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was kind of connecting it with white man's burden. Like, if they're trying to justify this, are they telling us they're trying to justify the wars in this? So, like, they're savaging wars so that they can have peace. Maybe I don't know enough about that.
Maybe, but I think like theirs is a war of peace, whereas then they're in war with savages.
Ah, I
I feel like that's how it becomes a savage.
Cool. Okay.
So, what did you think, Serena? Anything similar or different?
I don't know. I was kind of trying to like pull meaning from this seemingly oxymoron sentence. Savage wars of peace. Like, are they fighting for their version of peace, which is kind of to oppress the natives and do their thing? Like, that was kind of what I.
But that seems like they're recognizing that what they're doing is savagery, which they usually didn't recognize. They thought they were helping the savages.
I think I was also trying to like identify their burden. Like, did they feel their burden was to get peace from these wars? And then the next line too, I also circled, was their burden also to fill the mouth of famine. So they thought that these wars and them helping expand would also help fill the mouths that they somehow felt burdened to fill.
So maybe it's a combination. So like the peaceful war is with savages in order to fill the mouth of famine.
Of those
Oh my gosh.
Like
This is so
trying-
much deeper.
it's okay.
They're like doing evil to do good, kind
Right,
of.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're doing good by evil means.
Okay. Wow. All right. I'm doing good by evil means. So much deeper than I thought.
So what did you guys do?
And I've read this
We
poem
were
before.
trying to figure out like what this piece about like reward and the blame goes even. So we were thinking that particular phrase has something to do with they were taking over the land and then placing all the blame on the people that were there, like kind of not taking responsibility or kind of not recognizing how that had an
Kind of how like the British colonized America and blamed the Native Americans for all kinds of things.
So it was kind of like they weren't like they had like all these resources, but they weren't like using them. They weren't being wise with what they had, and then maybe the colonists felt like, okay, so this is how you be wise with what you have on your ship. That type of
right,
thing.
yeah.
So they could reap the benefits.
Yeah, whereas they probably already had good ideas in the first place. Yeah. Yeah.
We're almost at 10 minutes.
Alright guys, can I get up your attention real quick? The whole reason why I had you guys read this, it's really interesting. I think that I kind of wanted to get you guys thinking about how different words and phrases are used in a broad range of literature even today. And so we talk about like words such as, or phrases such as the one I wrote, weight, heavy harness, or maybe beastie breed and things like that. It's interesting just to look at how these pieces of literature can kind of make things more tangible for kind of like maybe not for maybe like the middle class, because all the other people like drew all the lines in the Berlin conference. They knew what they wanted. They were the leaders. They were the the powerhouses of that society. They were the upper class. They knew what they wanted. But how do you justify that to the middle class? And so, can you guys think of any other examples today, maybe, where like a conflict or an event is happening, and the people in power have their reasons, but how do people justify? How would the middle class justify that event? Does that make sense? No? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead.
I mean, I was just thinking of like maybe the net neutrality talks, like in discussions of that, and like, yeah, as common people, we have one reason to believe in net neutrality, but people in power may have either the opposite or the same view, but for potentially other reasons, like capitalist reasons or economic reasons, whereas for us, it's a day-to-day type issue.
Right. Well, I think of, like a good example would be U.S. history, like Manifest Destiny. Most people thought it's our destiny, hence Manifest Destiny, to move west. But the people in power at that time were thinking, oh, we want railroads, we want resources, we want gold, those sorts of things. And so I guess the point of this exercise was to not only learn more about imperialism, but to dig deep into how people use literature to make things more tangible. And we can do that by determining the meaning of phrases and words used in a text. So,
Okay.